Hello and welcome to my ever messy art studio. My name is Keeks, and today we're going to try and paint something reminiscent of this. This was a picture that I did in my Neocolor II book, and it was an intuitive drawing, and I saw a dragon in it. So I thought it would be cool to try and capture that moment. I have no idea if it'll turn out or not. I'm actually really new at gouache still, but I'm going to try my best. And with that said, I wanted to show you one of my inspirations besides this page. That page, of course, is my main inspiration, but also a good inspiration is Sophie McPike. And in my scavenger hunt journal, I recently did the page where you're supposed to imitate a famous artist, and I did choose her. She does have a Patreon, and when I joined the Patreon, I was sent this beautiful postcard by her, and I tried to learn from it. So once again, this is Sophie McPike's artwork. It is not my artwork. Well, I painted it, but if you love it as much as I do, please go to Sophie McPike's YouTube channel and subscribe and like her stuff because she is amazing. But anyway, as I was saying, I painted this yesterday and it empowered me to want to paint that dragon. So what I've done here is I've gone ahead and with a pink pencil, I have just went in and really just drew the bones of what I was kind of thinking. I don't know if it'll turn out. I've never painted fire in my life, and I for certain don't know much about shading and stuff, but I thought this would be pretty fun. And I honestly have no idea how long this is going to take. So I am going to fast forward everything until it's finished for you, but then I'll do a voiceover so I can talk to you while I'm in the process. Thank you. So I want to start by saying that this painting was extremely daunting because of how big it was. I probably should have done a smaller practice one before just going in it like this, but I was really excited because, like I said, that Sophie McPike painting really inspired me and I wanted to try again. And this time I was using subject matter that I'm not very familiar with. I am not familiar with doing flames, and my flames now look very reminiscent of like a 90s sticker, if I'm honest. So one of the things that this told me that I need to work on is maybe I should do like a 30-day challenge to draw like maybe 30 different types of fires. Like maybe I could do something fun like that. I think that would be something that would be really interesting to put in my Neocolor journal, because I feel like I could do lots of different types of fires, or I could even spread it out throughout different sketchbooks, because I constantly have several sketchbooks going at once. Like right now I believe I have 4 that I'm actively working in, or maybe it's 3. I think I have 3 that I'm really actively working. No, 4 because of the scavenger hunt journal. So yeah, right now I have a small Royal Talons that I'm working out of. I have the scavenger hunt one. I have my Neocolor II one. And then I have my regular sketchbook. So yeah, or this sketchbook, I guess. So yeah, I have about 4 sketchbooks going at once right now. So with this, as you can see, I did green and then I did black on top of it. I was trying to do an underpainting because I thought that the gouache would probably mix more. I think I should have added a little bit more water to the gouache before I tried to do that because I couldn't really see the green through it as I wanted. But later on in the painting, I do end up fixing that by figuring out I can just flick water at it and then wipe it with a towel, and then you can see the green underneath it. So I was trying to be kind of clever there. One thing I wish I would have done better is in my original picture, there were yellows, purples, pinks, but you could still tell it was like a fire, right? Well, for some reason, I decided that I was going to do regular fire colors, but still include the pink and stuff, and I don't really think that worked very well. So I think if I were to do this next time, I would try to stick more to the color palette that I had before, because that's what I really loved. But I'm still really proud that I finished this painting, because this painting took... Ooh, gosh, it was probably about 2.5 hours to finish. It definitely took 2 or 3 nights of painting. There's 3 videos that are spliced together whenever I was editing this, and each of them were about an hour long. So I think one of them was about 40 minutes long. But yeah, this painting took me a hot minute to do, especially because of how big it was. And I was trying really, really hard not to like paint over stuff, because I do not have what I would consider a very steady hand at all. And for smaller marks, I find smaller marks really challenging because I usually put too much paint on the brush for that. So I was trying really, really hard to be really precise with the paintbrush and using the gouache like that. I was probably using it more like how I would use acrylic paints in a way. So that was pretty interesting. But all in all, I think I did a pretty good job of staying in my lines. There were definitely some chunky areas, but I think I tried to hide them pretty well. But yes, so these are flames. Sorry if they look like a third grader did them. But I still had fun making them anyways. So at this point, I'm going to put on some music and you can just enjoy the process. Hello again. By the way, if you liked those two vlog type songs, those are actually available on Filmora, which is the app that I'm using right now. This is not a sponsored video, but I do want to give credit to their music because I do love it and it works really well with these kind of videos. So one of the things I thought was really fun whenever I was doing this painting was I mixed a lot of different colors. Like I tried to do like light pinks and purples together. This is really where I tried to add the pinks and purples I saw in the original picture, which like I said, it ends up kind of looking a little odd just because the dragon is so girly purple. And I did end up trying to fix that later on by adding more colors to the flames. But I did a lot of different color mixing here, which I thought was really fun. And then, as you can see, I also was really trying hard just to stay in those little tiny areas so that I wouldn't accidentally paint over them. All in all, it was definitely a lot of fun, and I found it super relaxing. Like I would just chill there and because my phone was recording, you know, I wasn't watching any videos, I wasn't, you know, tuned in, and I feel like lately I've been really overly tuned in, if you know what I mean, especially with everything that's been going on here in the United States. So I felt like this was my time to relax and just, you know, let it all flow away. And I hope that you do that too whenever you're doing your art, because, you know, it's just nice not to let any of those things worry you and to just kind of sit back, relax, and let the colors do the work for you. So let me know, is art like that to you? Do you find art kind of like your peaceful go-to place when things get too overwhelming? Let me know in the comments below. Also, one of my subscribers in my last video had said that she might start Janet's journal. Did you start your journal? If so, let me know what you've done so far. I would love to know. I would love to know how anyone's doing. You guys are welcome to say where I can find that at too. Like if you have an Instagram, anything like that. Totally welcome to post something in the comments about that. So there's an interesting mixed media technique that I'm about to use right here. What I'm doing is I'm putting water over the gouache, and then you're gonna see me smash a paper towel over it. And what I'm doing is I'm lifting the top layer of paint, and it's actually causing these colors to mix up a little bit, and you can actually see the colors that are underneath. I figured that since gouache can reactivate with water, that this would be a really fun technique. And I especially love doing this to the background because then you could finally see those greens that were underneath and they weren't hidden. And then I decided that my flames were really childish looking, but I wanted to lean into it. So instead I put these wavy lines, like almost as if there's like steaming happening, because I felt like it made it look a lot hotter there. And then I was like, well, if I look at this dragon's gonna have to have some outlines. So I went ahead and changed up to using my Arrtx markers. I have a set that I enjoy using, and those are the acrylic paint markers. And I actually kind of like them better than Posca, if I'm honest. I don't think that their white is really anything to write home about. The white Posca I probably would still use for that, but for all their paint markers, what I like about them is they're really juicy markers and they don't seem to run out very easily. So I just went ahead and did my outlines, and then afterwards I was trying to do kind of like as if like the flames were shining off of the dragon's scales. Which if I would have planned this out better, maybe I could have even drawn some scales on the dragon, but instead I just made it kind of look like that fire was kind of gleaming off of the dragon's wings, which I do still think was a good idea because I feel like it tied the colors better together so that there wasn't just this random pink dragon in the middle of fire. Instead, with that reflection of the fire, it just looked a lot better to me. Anyway, what do you think? Do you think that kind of helped it out a little bit? And then I also really like how I used the white just to kind of zhush up like where the white areas were. And then that way those stood out quite nicely. And then after that, I just took my Neocolor IIs and I wanted to add a bit of contouring to the face. And actually I was going to add some markings on the ground too, but I forgot. So that's okay. But then I just mixed the water on top of it. It contoured the face a little bit, and that's it. That's my dragon. If you stuck around with me this long, thank you so much. If you could like or subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. But otherwise, thank you for joining me, and I hope to hear from you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.